different malware persistence tricks during the last 3 years. And a little bit, few words about agenda. Of course, first of all, I will show you the classic malware persistent tricks, and then I will show you different tricks how you can abuse different Windows internals, Windows crypto internals, and different applications for malware persistence, and also new examples discovered by me in the last year, 2025. Let's start. Make a few words about classic tricks. Yeah, classic. What's the main purpose of the persistence of malware? Classic one is just abusing, in most cases, it's just abusing the Windows registry and different applications. For example, if you have some interested research, if you read something about related to APT attacks and malware, of course, most of them use different Windows registry and DLL hijacking tricks, like init DLL in case of the APT39, accessibility features like Narrator or Windows keyboard, also used by several APTs, and Windows services. It's my favorite trick. It's used with most APTs, but the interesting thing, it's one of the best option for bypassing Windows real-time protection, like Windows Defender real-time protection. And of course, WinLogon helper DLLs and DLL hijacking is also used for in all cases. But what about hunting something new or something interesting? And during the last years, when I researched the Windows internals, I found the interesting things and the interesting tricks, how you can abuse different internals, Windows internals. Of course, in case of the classic malware persistence, the main problem, it's well-known, easily detected with good research, and most of the malware analysis researchers, blue teamers, and threat intelligence engineers can immediately catch your malware. But what about research something new during the checking something interesting things under the hood of the Windows operating systems? Of course, after finish this research, I have the significant progress not only in Windows malware, also for Linux, for Mac. I was wondering that some tricks worked, and here it's also easily can be used and abused with Linux and another, even some mobile malware. So I will try to explain how you can do it by yourself if in your pen test and red team operations. And nowadays, most of the APT groups use these tricks. I hope that it will be good for the red teamers and for blue teamers also. Is it really possible to find new something? Yeah. Maybe something like this. For example, it wasn't 3 years ago, I was wondering that most of the Microsoft Teams, not only Teams, most of the Microsoft applications like Teams, like OneNote, like Azure API, most of them are vulnerable to the DLL hijacking. It's okay. The bad news that if you try to send some bug report to the Microsoft, they just answer it like it's not bug, everything is okay. So another interesting thing, I was wondering that in Windows error reporting, you have the interesting option. When you run something like where-fault exe with different parameters and like PR, this command run where-fault in the reflective debugger mode. In this mode, you can abuse Windows interesting Windows registry path. Just replace the DLL and voila, you can persistence your malware. Another one is also discovered by me. It's a WinCrypt API internals. You can find a huge of the cryptography-related DLLs in the Windows registry. Sometimes, if someone happened in the background, some cryptography-related things and user interactions, you can abuse it, everyone. For internet connection, for something, when you calculate some cryptography internals inside, under the hood of the Windows, you also can abuse it for malware persistence. It's bad news, of course, for the defenders, but good news for malware developers. Another one is also discovered by me. It's a process hacker. Even me, for example, honestly, used this application for malware analysis, but I wondered and shocked that it's also vulnerable to the DLL hijacking, and you can abuse it for malware persistence. What's the problem? The problem is related, like you can just replace one of the DLL, which used by the process hacker, second version, and you can use it for any action, because process hacker is usually used by administrator privileges, so you can do bad things with this. I just reported and sent a bug report 1 year ago. The interesting answer, like we was fixed in third version branch, but still now, until now, if you use process hacker second version, it's still vulnerable. Not only this version mentioned here, I just wondered that in 2025 this bug is also worked. So for the proof of concept, you can just follow this GitHub repository, and you have the source code of this malware. Another one is the Windows terminal. It's also a simple thing, and this thing is just abusing just replacing some settings in JSON settings by default. You just update some behavior on the startup when you run the Windows terminal in new versions of the Windows 11 and Windows 10. And interesting thing that this trick is good for bypassing Windows Defender real-time protection. Another one is Windows services. As I mentioned before, it also still works perfectly like a sham for Windows 11 also. But after finish this type of the research, I decided to move a little bit another path. What about if you're leveraging the legit APIs sometimes for abusing it for the covert malware communication, for persistence malware, for gaining persistence during some connections, if your DLP or some EDRs or some big complex of the security solutions block everything related to your samples. But good news for you, you can abuse different, for different scenarios, you can abuse different type of the legit APIs. It's looks simple, but really effective even when you run some pen test and red team engagements for different industries like aerospace, IoT, game dev companies, even if you pen test or attacking some cybersecurity companies. Let me show what's the difference. First is abuse C2. Okay, the classic methods in this case, classic methods is just also easily detected, well-known, easily catched by EDRs, antivirus solutions, DLP systems. For example, if your system is restricted some API connections, you cannot use it for the hiding your malware connection, your command and control servers. But what about just try to research different APIs, like maybe some some resources like Microsoft related, game dev related, or maybe even some industrial APIs like using for IoT and another applications. As any APIs or services can be used for hiding your C2 connection. Yes, of course. Let me show that Slack webhook, it's well known, but it's still effective, really good for if you test something related to game dev or something related to the Slack for companies and organizations which use the Slack. Just replace your webhook. It's free. You don't need to pay something. You can use, for the proof of concept, you can steal something. During this presentation, I will show the simple scenario when you create a simple stealer, just steal system information from the Windows machine. In this case, as you can see, just sending some interesting statistics and interesting system information to the Slack. Even you can use sending some commands in Slack, with the Slack webhooks. It's easily detected, but effective now, still effective, use it. Let's say you have restrictions with you cannot use any another connections, any untrusted IP addresses or untrusted services, but you can use Slack. What's the main purpose? Of course, it's suitable for malware targeted to software engineering companies because they usually use a Slack. The same situation with the Discord webhook, the same scenario, everything is related to the Discord. In case of the Discord, the one good news for the malware developers, you can use it from the, you don't need to use your own stealed API key or something. You can use any API key. You can use it for any organization for attacking, and you can abuse it for red team and malware development and pen testing applications during the different scenarios. And the good news for Discord, they use Cloudflare. So even if some firewalls or something like DLPs or some security solutions try to analyze these strange connections, it just looks like legit, everyone. And it's another good example when you malware attacks campaigns targeted to the game dev companies. What about GitHub or something like GitHub issues or commits? It's also free. You don't need to buy some enterprise solution for this. You just use a GitHub API, GitHub key, just sending some comments, and you can connect with your malware. It's always use, still now, always use with the malware persistence, always sometimes used for dropping some malwares from DLLs. For example, here, it's another one, it's used by webhook with the Bitbucket also. It's not, yes. It's a Bitbucket, for example. It's also like GitHub. It's also, you can put your malware, your stealer information, you can encrypt it, you can send any information here, like base64 encrypted or XOR encrypted or anything related to your steal data. And this is a really great example when you hacking some software engineering companies because it looks like legit, and you cannot find some differences between attacker connections and developer connections because like you can too much commits, too much merges, pushing something to the GitHub. It looks like legit in the traffic. Even VirusTotal, you can abuse VirusTotal for let's imagine you want to attacking or pen testing in a red team scenario during your campaign for cybersecurity company. You can use it even, let's say you hacking your blue team. You can use VirusTotal Comments API. It's simple but effective and looks really good and works like a charm perfectly. Nowadays, always use it for the different scenarios. Even if you have some really good blue team infrastructure, in my experience, I use this trick still now and in most cases with organizations who use it, different security operational centers, is a big, like something like Google Threat Intelligence APIs and something interesting. Because even if your target organization use something like related to Google, like Google Threat Intelligence, because VirusTotal is used by Google now, so it's trusted. So it's a benign research activity. It looks like just a blue team noise, like maybe someone from your security operations center just sending something to the VirusTotal. It's a really good and ideal scenario when you work malware campaigns targeted to a security company. Of course, Telegram, it's a big problem, it's a huge problem, it becomes a huge of the cases when a Telegram bot is used for the malware connection, malware communication. It's interesting thing that for Telegram, in most cases, they use some interesting things, not only for Windows. Let me show the same scenarios when you use it for abusing Android applications, for mobile security, for hacking your targets, for sending some information from your mobile phones. And of course, sometimes it's happened something like for Linux also, for Mac, it looks like MacBook. It's simple but effective. And the good news, sometimes you can share something, you can hijacking some OTPs also, like from banking accounts, from SMS stealer, you can run something simple for attacking the persons. It's like how you can abuse, it's not only related to the Telegram, but you can use the same thing for stealing everything by running your malware and abusing the legit APIs. You can send all of this SMS from your target mobile, from your target victim to your C2 server. It's really bad things. And one of the good scenarios, for example, few months ago, I just wondered that still now, they also use it with complex measures in malware developers and APT groups. They abuse not only just C2 connection with the Telegram bot for the malware, they also use it for the communication with stealing some information by social engineering campaigns. Just fake login pages, like can you enter some credentials and just immediately send it with JavaScript script in the website, fake website, like phishing campaigns. And it's also easily implemented even in JavaScript and some simple fake pages for like phishing. And what about another APIs? You have the huge of the different free API. It's just few examples only. When you use it, like some Home Assistant REST API, TinyURL, Firebase, maybe something like cryptocurrency APIs, Google Calendar. For a proof of concept, all of this, you can just follow me in my blog. I will share everything from time to time, step by step. I will show. So just let me show the few examples, and after finish the presentation, I will show you the few demos. For example, AngelCam API. You can use it for, let's imagine you hacking or pen testing some IoT-related companies, and all connections related to, not related to IoT infrastructure or something IoT logic, it's restricted. So you can abuse something like AngelCam. It's also free. You can send any stupid things, any comments, any things in description. It's not sanitized by the API. So it's great for IoT-related component malware attack scenarios. What about Microsoft? You have the huge of the different APIs in the Microsoft, like OneDrive, Microsoft Outlook API. You have the Azure, ton of the different free APIs. Just you can use any API key, just generate tokens, and you can use it. The good news for all of these scenarios, when I tested this with my enterprise AnyRun sandbox, everything is like legit, because it's something like Azure.com or something like virustotal.com. Everything looks like no threats detected. Just looks like legit because it's API, it's trusted. That's the main problem now. How you can abuse any APIs for malware persistence during any pen test scenarios related to different industries. For example, as I mentioned, for Microsoft, you can use targeting any organization which uses Azure DevOps or for its cloud, for example. Maybe if you have the target company who use enterprise Office or something, you can use. If you use something like Microsoft Calendar or something like Teams, like this, you also can use it. And I was wondering that even Xbox API, you also can use it. But in this case, you have the two interesting things. First one, everything looks like previous scenarios, but in Xbox API, you can use any random XUID. This bug is fixed now, but the bad things for this that you can use with any authorization, you can use any token, not related to your target organization. You just generate any Xbox API, Xbox account, and you can send any UID, and voila, you can send stealing some information from your target computers, from your victim machine. And yes, it's also great for malware campaigns and malware attacks for game dev companies, of course. Because it looks like just no need to, it's another interesting thing. You no need to custom infrastructure in all of these cases. You no need to create your infrastructure for your C2 connections, so for your C2, just generate token, just use good documentation, and create simple malware stealers like this. And of course, even in this case, if you have some security solutions, if you combine this trick with different tricks like time distortion, function call obfuscation, encrypting all strings, encrypting payloads, everything, you just easily bypass most of the ADRs, most of the antivirus solutions like this. Like you can bypass Defender, you can bypass Microsoft Defender, Kaspersky, Note 32, everything. It's like full undetectable. But before starting the mitigation and detection, a few months ago, I just discovered another interesting thing. Even if you are not using Windows, if you are not using some exe, maybe for some reasons you cannot run process executable files. I found some interesting, with my colleagues, I found some interesting bug in MP3. Can you show the second demo, please? It looks like this. For example, you have some Python script. I will show the proof of concept later, because now I cannot share it, because it's really good things and bad things when you run the server, create your own MP3 file, and any application, you just run the MP3 file, and you can send some information from the victim machine. I was wondering that it's worked on Linux, for Windows, and even for mobile. When someone sends you MP3 file, you just run it, like just with any player, and you can connect to the C2 server of your attacker. Okay, finish. Can you finish it? That's why you cannot trust even some legit things, because malware developers use it for the persistence, for the bypass security. And what's the main detection mitigation? I think it's a big problem. You need to just something good, really good, related to maybe some machine learning solutions, how you can find some maybe checking the entropy, checking some large payload detection engineering solutions like machine learning, or checking all tokens. Maybe, in my opinion, maybe you need to restrict all not related to this company tokens. Like if some processes in your company sending some things to the legit API, but with a foreign token, not registered maybe in your database, just close these connections, just restrict this. Maybe just monitoring the process, of course, and checking the static and dynamic analysis, sandbox analysis of most of the samples. And summarize, what's the main problem that, as you can see, with the different scenarios, you can use different APIs, you can use different infrastructures. You don't need to create this infrastructure by you. You just need to token, and you can use it for the persistence. That's all. And what's next? I think next, of course, what about LLM APIs? Maybe you can use it also for abuse it, for hacking, for malware persistence, for connecting with your samples, with your malware. Of course, something like Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, AI-powered APIs. Thank you. So I'm finished. If you have any questions, you can find something here. And in most cases, I more try to explain everything by practice. Less theory, more practice. So if you have any questions, you are welcome. I have maybe some few questions.
We can do more than few. There is one question, two questions, so let's start from the, yep.
Hello. So my question is, isn't it kind of pointless to keep chasing as a blue team or EDR developer to keep chasing those APIs and try to block or detect them one by one? Shouldn't we try to focus on more, I don't know,
Good question.
better alternatives? Because we will always, as red teamers, right, we will always keep finding new APIs to abuse. And there's countless of them. So what we can do exactly, what's the solution to this?
I don't know, maybe you need just register all tokens, as I mentioned before. Maybe you can restrict everything just with your DLP systems, maybe just allow only registered tokens, or maybe registered APIs, like maybe next generation firewalls. Like nowadays I'm working on my new project on the deep packet inspection. Of course, in this case, you need to research packets, maybe deep dive into the packets. So you have the technology, we have the technology with the deep packet inspection. Maybe it's help. It will help, maybe.
All right, thank you.
Boa tarde, tudo bem? Meu nome é Simon, eu sou estudante de... Ah, ele precisa ouvir, né? Aí, meio...
Translate? Yeah. Okay, let's try.
Ok. Posso perguntar? Pode? Ok.
Yeah.
Boa tarde, meu nome é Simon. E, primeiramente, eu quero agradecer pela oportunidade de você estar aqui, né, e trocar esses conhecimentos e essas informações conosco. E a minha pergunta vai no sentido de qual a importância estratégica que a inteligência de ameaça cibernética, em conjunto com a análise de malware e o threat hunting, como elas podem potencializar, né, e aumentar a resiliência cibernética das organizações. E a segunda pergunta seria no sentido de, no contexto em que vivemos atualmente, um contexto em que a soberania digital de diversos países sofre constantes ataques, como é que nós podemos trazer a inteligência de ameaça cibernética e a análise de malware de forma efetiva para proteger a vida dos cidadãos de um determinado país, região, ou até mesmo de uma determinada cidade, que acabam por ter a sua vida em muito prejudicada por meio de ataques cibernéticos e, em especial, a infraestruturas críticas.
Yes, thank you, Simon. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your question. Good question. It's related to the how you can protect this nowadays with really APTs, with big cybercrime. During the 10 years, I'm creating different solutions for law enforcement, for intelligence services, for finding and catching some cyber crimes. In most cases, really based on deep dive and something deep tech. You cannot just catch it and prevent these type of attacks without really good technologies like machine learning, like, as I mentioned before, like something deep inspection packets, deep inspection samples, like really good malware analysis, not just simple automation. You need something more complex. You need big infrastructure, like maybe even lawful interception, maybe in your country. For example, if you want to prevent something in Brazil, maybe you need to intercept. You need big interception in your telecom data, because if you want to prevent some malware attacks in your mobile, you need to be good solutions for telecom operators, like interceptors, and not only cybercrime, and even any crime. You need this nowadays, and even for terrorism, even for narco traffic, drug dealing, and of course related to the cybercrime also. I think it's the only way and the right way.
Claro, com certeza. E uma última pergunta, bem rapidinho, juro.
Yeah,
Espero não ter quebrado sua cabeça. A minha pergunta vai no sentido de a criptografia pós-quântica, a implementação dela pode ser efetiva para a proteção da paz e da sociedade de qualquer estado-nação?
Thank you for your last question. It's really good. Yeah, I hope it will be good for in quantum computers era, the really deep cryptography era. But the problem is always problem is people. So if you have good software engineering campaigns, like maybe you hear before about one of the companies related to one of the APTs. They just create interesting social engineering campaign, like we create good scientific paper related to the quantum computers. If you're interested, we have the proof of concept on GitHub, please click. And when you click it, you just download some types of the malware. So even some academic scientists, even some cybersecurity specialists also can abuse it, can hack it. So I think it's about cyber hygiene, about awareness, cyber awareness, not only quantum computers. Yes, as I mentioned before, it's you need deep technologies, but we all of us as people have the problem with the social engineering. So that's all, I think. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience? We still have time. Yeah, over there.
Hi, hello. First of all, thank you for the presentation. I want to ask you about any mistakes we should avoid when using APIs for persistence.
I think, thank you for your question. I have no idea, to be honest. Maybe you need to, the main problem in these cases that all of these APIs have a really good documentation. If you little bit familiar with the software engineering, you can develop your malware just following the documentation and following some simple tricks. That's the problem. Because you cannot restrict all of these documentations, all of these APIs, all of these tokens. You cannot just sending private tokens. Most of the tokens is free. You need just register with any email, with any mobile. You can use it, abuse it everywhere. So that's the problem. It's free. You don't need to buy something cloud or something. You can use free Google Cloud or free Amazon, free Microsoft Azure. That's the problem. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, one more over there.
Hi there. Thank you for the presentation. You said that you were developing some sort of deep inspection of packages, right? If we're sending information to registered endpoints which are trusted, but we can somehow send information which is not allowed to be sent there, we will need to make some sort of AI deep inspection in the packages. But wouldn't it be a big waste of energy and resources to process every package in the network to find maybe one or two which are leaking data?
Thank you for this question. By the way, if you need really good deep packet inspection or really good deep technologies for intercepting traffic, for example, in our case, in our country, we developed really big interceptor for all telecom operators. So, related to infrastructure, only one city per 1 day generate like 10 petabytes of the data, telecom data. So that's a problem when you research all of these applications, all of these mobile applications. We really do big work on some of this work is created not before we use machine learning. We research all of these applications, more than 80,000 mobile applications. We check them by the traffic analysis, is finding some signatures in the packets. Even if you have two types of the analysis. If you have something like man in the middle, and if you have not man in the middle, because you have only encrypted traffic. In case of the man in the middle, it's okay, it's no problem. In case of the TLS traffic, you need only technologies, really research, trying. First of all, you need to analyze it by hands-on experience. And then you can use some machine learning. We have the big data science department for this, trying to create deep analysis. It's a really huge work. It's really difficult and complex, but I think it's now it's the only way, I think.
And how about privacy?
It's like last 5-6 years, I think, but we started 10 years ago. When you create some solutions for our law enforcement, we started packet inspection, and then during all of these 10 years, we just try to really create something really interesting and really deep technologies. But unfortunately, it's not open source, of course. It's only for nation-related public sector or government. But sometimes it also works, so it's like false positive. But it's better than nothing, of course. That's all. It's better than nothing. You need something really big, really for telecom operators, because we started. In our case, I started from the anti-terrorism department, and then moving to the other sectors of the national security, like cybercrime, like this.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah, right there. Okay.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I want to go back to the way you used APIs, specifically for the Slack API. Let's say, for example, I'm doing a malware and I'm exfiltrating through a Slack bot, and I'm doing like exfiltration through messages. This traffic obviously comes from the Slack API, comes with TLS and stuff like that, right? The only way you can detect if that's malware communication is through deep packet inspection or through a DLP or something like that. But let's say I implement a word encryption. So I do communication by words. This traffic would seem like legit, right? To the point of view of machine learning or patterns. How can we possibly detect something this, I don't know, natural or something like that?
Thank you. Thank you for your question. In case of the encrypted traffic, let me show the one case. For example, for Telegram, it's a really big problem for law enforcement nowadays. Telegram is a really big problem because, for example, MT, you know the MT Pro 2 protocol in Telegram. It's related to cryptography. It's really good. It's really good. You cannot, if you try to deep packet inspection to this protocol, it's for example, in our case, we have no idea. We try different type of the algorithms. We try everything, but it's really good. It's really strong. And if you, we have a huge of the false positives. We try to find some signatures and some patterns to detect some malware-related things in Telegram protocol, and it's problem. I think we need better research on this way, doing, maybe we have another 10 years, I have no idea. Because in encrypted traffic, we have the problem. For example, for WhatsApp or for some Discord, we have some progress. In some APIs, we have the really significant progress on this, detecting this. It's related to the DPI and machine learning. But in case some protocols like Telegram, MT Pro 2, some type of the protocols like some type of the VPNs is also really good. You cannot detect it. But one of my colleagues, it's a little bit better than me in machine learning. They really have the significant progress on detecting VPN now. And even try to decrypt something, finding some patterns and signatures. And not only malware, all of these bad things, like which interested to law enforcement, like counterterrorism actions, crime, weapons, drugs, all of this. I think we need another couple of years for research on it. Because now we have the few protocols, it's really big problems for us.
Yeah, I think there's a limitation when you're using public APIs. For example, if I can start my own server and implement specific evasion engineering for communication. For example, I can implement the maybe not framework or stuff like that that does traffic evasion at the low level of the packet communication. When you're using public APIs, that's not really achievable, is it?
In case of the evasion, for example, from the red team and attackers and adversaries side, a few years ago, I talking in one of the conference, and I have the interesting research on related how you can abuse the cryptography, classic cryptography for malware communication, for the malware encryption, for bypassing security. For example, if you use well-known algorithms like RC4, base 64, double base 64, like AES or RC4, or most of the well-known things, you really easily detect it. With some patterns, with some beacons, like even if you use really good, like Cobalt Strike or something. But I was wondering that if you use some not so famous, not so well-known protocol cryptography algorithms like skipjack or A51, which used by the GSM, for example. If you use something like Madriga cryptography algorithm from 18s or most of the algorithms, the bad news that these algorithms, you cannot use it for cryptography, but you can abuse it for malware, hiding malware and bypassing security. Yes, it's not good for cryptography actions, of course. It's maybe not good like Triple DS or Bluefish or AES, but it's enough for some malware, for hiding some malware communication, for encryption sections of the process executables, some binaries, not only for Windows, I mean all of the operating systems, like even Linux, Windows, even macOS, mobile applications. That's the problem. Sometimes you can just research something, it's not well known, not easily detected or really good research at something. Just find something, it's not too famous, it's not too researched before, maybe something like this. It's a main trick, it's a main tip for the, and of course the main problem for the blue teamers. That malware develop, it's like any software development. The only difference, it's malicious. If you have a really good knowledge and fundamental knowledge on the software engineering, you really can do some big problems for the security, cyber security.
Thank you.